Let me show you one of the things I've been doing lately. I've been making these cards, which I called paste-up mashup cards. There's one with Luke Skywalker on it. These are a bunch of old Magic the Gathering, well, some of them are fairly new, Magic the Gathering cards I have, which I've also been drawing on. And they're cheap, worthless cards. You can get 1,000 of them for $25 shipped off of eBay. So they're not exactly the most desired Magic the Gathering cards. I got them in sleeves here. So it was a couple of years ago, because I do some drawings on old comics, my LCS owner gave me, got these in a collection, he was going to throw them out. So he gave me a bunch of these sort of really battered, worthless old comics, Generation X, and in not good shape. Here's an old Conan. This one's not too bad. Where's a destroyed one? There we go. There's a old destroyed issue of the Hulk. So what I've been doing is I've been cutting artwork out of these. This one's from Star Wars number 12. I had a battered copy of that. So I've been cutting the artwork out from these and pasting them down on these old Magic cards, making these paste-up mashup comics, I've named them. Where's some Conan stuff? That's down the bottom. Here we go. I've been doing it with Conan number 40 and Star Wars number 12, where I just kind of like the juxtaposition of the Magic card and the art from the comic book, which have nothing to do with each other. But when you put them together, they make a new context for them both. And it makes me, here's a panel in Conan that I never would bother looking at very closely, but now I do. And I like, the parts of word balloons that go with it too. You son of a Hyperborean, with the Captain's Call card. There's a nice Conan panel. Like I said, I just kind of find the cards more interesting. Kind of a worthless comic and some worthless Magic cards, and I took two of them and mashed them together into something I find interesting. I have no idea what I'm going to do with all these cards now, though. It's just kind of like, what do I do with them after I make them? I don't know. Orchard Elemental, Conan. Reclaiming Vines, Take the Barbarian and Swell of Growth, to touch it lightly. And it's funny, I usually just pick out 5 random cards and then cut out the panels and then kind of see which one goes best with it. And sometimes they match up and sometimes they don't. But what I'm going to do in this video is show you the old school paste-up method that I use to make these cards. So that's what's coming next. We're going to start out our process of making one of these paste-up mashup cards by sacrificing a card to use as a guide to make other cards. So this is Boiling Earth, just kind of a random common card that I got in one of the random boxes of Magic cards that I bought on eBay. And we want to put this is a straight edge. It's actually a triangle, but I'm going to use the straight edge, and it's got a metal cutting. That right there is a piece of metal for cutting against. And I'm using my good old X-Acto knife with a sharp new number 11 blade on it. That's the real pointy one, as you can see there. The key is you want to get this right up against the edge that you want to cut on. And get yourself, like, I have light coming from this angle, so it's not casting a shadow where I'm cutting. That's another key. These old school paste-up skills. And then you just want to draw your knife along the edge. You kind of want to go over the edge a little bit, just a tiny bit, and don't try to cut through it all in one slice. Whoops, see that? I wasn't holding it down properly. Messed up my cut. Let's see if I can get it right again. That's another problem. Sometimes the card can move. I should really tape it down. Matter of fact, almost through. You can see it takes quite a few cuts to get through one of these cards. And then another thing is, never try to cut at different angles. Always cut at the same angle so you turn the card. And watch the. We don't want it to move this time, so we'll get our. This is Scotch removable tape. It doesn't say removable anywhere in it. But we'll get this. This is my tape cutting scissors. For some reason, I don't like to tear tape. We'll put that on there. And this is low tack tape. So that it can be moved easily and removed without damaging anything. So let me get this at just about the same angle. I had it before. Tape that down so now it's not going to move even if I take my hand off. Let's see. Let's get that right up to that edge. Let's see how many cuts it takes. 1, 2, and you can feel it going through. 3, 4, 5. I think that was good. Let's go for a 6th one just in case. Okay. We'll turn that way again to cut the bottom. Once again, I'm not trying. So I can overshoot my corners a little bit. A lot of times when you're doing like hand work with a knife, some kind of paste up, you don't want to overshoot the corners. But in this case, overshooting the corners is fine. There we go. I think I made that one through. That if you don't want to use this tape, you just got to hold it down real tight, which sometimes can be a problem, as you saw it slip the time I did. And if it's going to slip with me, especially because it's going to slip with a lot of people, because I've done this a lot. And these cards are particularly slick, too. As you can see, this makes it a lot easier. There, I think we made it through. Let's see if we got that cut out. See, that peels right off with little or no effort. Look at that. It's coming just about out, except for that corner. Looks like it's hanging on this way, so let's get into that corner with our knife. There we go. We popped it right out. And now, oops, let's turn that so you can see it. Whoa, it's tough moving it on camera since it's not square. All right, so that we're going to use as our guide to cut out the comic book to make our cards. Okay, here is a torn out comic page from Conan number 40, which is a battered old comic that my LCS owner gave me for free for doing stuff like this with, because he couldn't sell it, it was so battered. Now we use this to find our picture. And I usually do 5 of these at a time. So let's see if I can find 5 on this page. I also love to include the word balloons. I find that makes for a more interesting mashup. And as you can see, I still have this removable tape on here. I like that Goddess of Flesh and Fire and Ishtar, Impossible. Seems to be about just the right length. And then I tape it down. And this tape will pick up a little of the comic, but not so much as you'd notice. We'll show that. And now once again I turn it and I use the edge of the card to kind of push the knife up against to get as straight a cut as possible. It usually takes 2 times through. That time it took 3. Then we turn the page so we're always cutting at the same angle, where the edge of the card I'm cutting against is always on the top. That way, because I find if I don't do this, my right side, and the next time it's at the left side, I make more mistakes. But if it's always at the same angle, then I make fewer mistakes. Let's see, did I make it through all that? Yes, I did. And man, newsprint is really thin when you're starting to work with it. Let's see what else I can get out of here. You can see that it picks up a little of the... But since it's new tape, it's got to catch up with me. Picks up a little of the ink off the... Let's go with Conan down here, picking out those jewels. We'll go right with that. Only the top piece of tape really sticks this time. Bring it along the top edge. Still the top edge. Here we go. Jewels shot. Lift that out of there. Oh, almost. I think we're missing a couple out of there. There we go. We lifted that out of there. We got 2 so far. The other 3 myself, and we'll pick it up from there. Here you go. I just wanted to show you the 5 I eventually chose. We got Conan and the Jewels. We got Goddess's Words. We've got Goddess of Fire and Flesh, Ishtar, Impossible. We've got Your City, Who Are You? We've got this random woman here. It looks like we can probably get... I do them 5 at a time. I'll show you why. We could probably get that Conan figure out of it too. I wonder if there's anything on the ads in the back. Oh, we might be able to get Muscle Man. Sometimes I use the ads on these too. They're kind of cool. But there you go. I used my cutout to put that down there and cut out some more comics. Now, let me show you an important art supply here. And this is Scotch Positionable Mounting Adhesive. And this is just the best glue-like substance, I guess you'd call it, available for this type of work. I can't imagine using any wet glue for this. It would just wreck the newsprint. Like, I don't think a glue stick would work. I don't think Elmer's glue would work. Even something like spray mount is really messy, and I'm not sure how well that would work with the newsprint. But this stuff right here, once again, this is stuff I know from my hand paste up days. See, paste up work right there, and it comes in this roll. What is this? 1 roll, 11 inches by 50 feet. It's like $50 for this roll too. Whoops, the paper just slid out. It's got this paper which doesn't stick to the glue, and so what I usually do is I roll it out. I put this paper down to block off all but, like, I think it's about just over a little of an inch and a quarter, as wide as tall, and I use a straight edge to cut off pieces. And I'll show you those pieces right here. Once again, Scotch Positionable Mounting Adhesive. This stuff is key for doing a lot of paste up work, especially delicate paste up. Let me change my camera angle again. This is what one of these pieces looks like. It's about, let's see, let's get our ruler on it. Just about 1.5 inches by 11 inches, it says. And now what I do is I put these on it. Okay, let's grab the first one. And I like to, I've found with trial and error doing these, the best way to do it is kind of press, let these, because this is all sticky paper right here. This is all sticky paper. Don't want to, if you touch that, it goes on your finger. So what I do is I press my 2 fingers up against the edge, and then I press the edge of that paper against my fingers, and then I touch it. Once again, I'm not touching the sticky paper. And now for the next one, I can put my finger on that and use one finger on the edge. Like I said, my finger isn't on the paper, it's on the edge of the paper. So I'm just kind of leaning that up against it. Then I press these down. I'm not burnishing them all the way yet because I want to, so again, that finger holds there, and then this finger up against the edge where I can kind of balance that on and press it down. And this is why I do 5 of them, because 5 of them fit on one of these pieces of 3M paper. There we go. The next one, or the last one, goes like that. Then what I usually do is I start cutting off the edges. And once again, this takes a little practice. I just cut right along the edge. I don't cut the comic itself, and I cut each one off individually. I just find it's easier to cut them like this. So I cut them all off individually. Then we've still got these edges of paper, of 3M paper. So I'll cut those. Once again, I'm going right along, using the edge of the newsprint as a guide. Have to have a nice sharp X-Acto to do this. Alrighty, that's one of them. And then the last thing you do is I usually get a little piece of paper of some kind, because sometimes you get a little glue there. Turn it over and burnish the back. Oops, not even on camera. Burnish the back, which is just pressing down on it with, this is an old school Letraset burnisher. It's just made for pressing things down. I'll do that with all of them, and then they'll be ready to peel off. I picked 5 cards just out of my box of commons of Magic, and I matched up the 5 cutouts with them. They kind of match, I like the randomness of it, so they don't really match. I mean, Containment Membrane and Goddess of Flesh and Fire, Conan saying Ishtar Impossible. Like I said, it doesn't really match in any way, but I like the juxtaposition, to use an art word. And often I'll give it an extra burnish before I put it down. Make sure all the glue is transferred. And I'll use these, which are tweezers that you press on and they open, and then you let go of and they close. Because I was using my fingers holding it at the very edge, but that kind of offered too much surface area for the glue to stick through. And sometimes I'd try to take my fingers off and I'd rip the newsprint as it stuck to them. So I usually line it up by the top left corner. Now here's a tip. I want to pull the paper off, I'll flip it over, and this is actually I use my X-Acto, the tip of my X-Acto blade, to lift up the paper. And I'm lifting it up in that top left corner first. Because what happened, now I'll peel the whole thing. I'll grab it with my tweezers like that. But what happens, it seems that whenever you peel it, the far corner bends over a little more. So then when I try to line up this corner, it's the flattest corner of the 4. Let's see, and I just kind of eyeball it. I cut it to the exact size, so, and this is repositional mounting adhesive, so you can lift it up a little bit. Oops. But it doesn't always go, let me move that. It doesn't always go right the first time. We want to get that. But if we get that one corner in place, it should mean the rest of it comes in place. Okay. There you go. It's not absolutely perfect, but it's perfect enough for our paste up. And then I'll put this sheet that doesn't stick over it and burnish it again down. Now this thing ain't moving. It's never going anywhere. It is now stuck to this card. Like you see, it didn't ruin the comic at all. It's fine. Let me do another one and show you. Goddess's Words. I'll flip it over, give it an extra burnish, make sure back from this top corner, because whatever side you peel it from, the opposite corner curls a little bit. I'm just grabbing the edge of the paper with the X-Acto. You can see all the glue on the back. I'll pick it up by its edges and then grab it with the tweezers. And let's try with the tweezers. There we go. Seems to, whoop, looks like I'm a little, sometimes the edges, since we're using the edge of the card to cut from, aren't perfectly straight. Like that edge right there didn't come out perfectly straight, but that's okay. Like I said, this is fun. Once again, put that up on top and give it a burnish. There you go. There's 2 of them done. Now I'll do the other 3. There you go. There's all 5 of them finished. The last thing I like to do is sign them and write what comic they came from on. So for the green card, I'm using the green pen. So I'll write down Conan number 40 and Josborn. I'll use my Josborn signature. And then what's annoying is sometimes the writing goes all the way to the bottom. So it's like I write right over it. Conan number 40, Born. And I did let's try the blue. This one's got enough. Conan number 40, Jaws. Well, there we go. That's how I make these cards. I've been making a lot of them lately. I just started making them. They make me look at the comic book art and the Magic the Gathering card in a different sort of way. All right. Hope you guys had fun watching that.